turning our attention from that, and I think I sent you this one, Ewok. So let's get to this: the appeals court reversing the district court decision on Hex versus Coin Market Cap. We had Brownies, I forget his full name, asking about this earlier, but we definitely have to talk about this. This is insane. It came out of nowhere, and you just mentioned a few minutes ago, Ewok, like some bullish, interesting little things with some cases happening right now that could be, maybe I didn't have the nuclear herbs one up. Maybe I can pull that up, but I know it's like a book, so I'm not sure if I can really read through that entire thing. But well, I'll just say this first. So first off, so Hex Scout tweeted this. This is just a quick and dirty of it. The appeals court reversed the district. First off, let's set this up. So I'll let you do it because you were really more so around for it. So tell everybody, if they don't know, what this Hex and Coin Market Cap / Binance lawsuit was. Johnny Chaos was in the chat earlier. He obviously knows much about it as well. But tell us what this was from the get-go there, Ewok.
Yeah, let me get I want to get the tweet that you're referring to. We'll go to there, and
I don't even know if I'll send it now. It's just
the Hex Scout one, right?
Yeah. And they linked the article. Yeah.
So where this all came about was early in the day, when Hex was first listed on CoinMarketCap. Started to grow, got some traction. They automatically locked it at number 201 on the ranking. It stayed there forever. There were a couple times where, the manual gatekeeping of it, they must have done an update or something like that. And it went back to its normal place. As it slowly crept up, at one point, we got to number 3 overall market cap behind Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hex. It had passed Cardano, it had passed BNB, it had passed Tether, USDC, all of these tokens. I mean, it made its way up through the rankings. And occasionally they would do an update or something like that, and it would show up in the right place. So these guys decided that, hey, you're affecting what people are really seeing. You claim to be a true, fair site that shows market cap based on number of tokens times price, and that's all that Coin Market Cap is the number of tokens out there times the price. And they had us locked, and it wasn't just Hex, it was several other tokens too. But either way, we had third-party sites like Yahoo Finance who were getting their API feed straight from CoinMarketCap, and they weren't changing it. So the feed was right on there. So we knew what was happening, right? It was basically because Hex isn't a token that they listed, first of all. Also a token that was meant to be staked and not traded. Well, there's another strike against them because, number one, Binance didn't list it, and number two, it kind of goes against the laws of traders, right? That's where all these platforms make their money, trading fees. And it didn't do either of those. So they didn't really like what Richard stood for, being honest, truthful, trying to help people. And they just did that. So these guys got together and said, you're really hurting it's basically market manipulation, right? So you're hurting the outcome. People aren't seeing what's really going on. And we thought, well, yeah, it's affecting the price, obviously, because people are like, well, what's wrong with it? Why is it at 201? What's going on here? And they probably avoided or stayed away from it at that point. So I know Johnny was part of the retainer fee. He put the retainer fee up, and then it kind of got transferred into this Ryan Cox person who took over, as the main person. But it is a class action lawsuit against CoinMarketCap and Binance because Binance owns CoinMarketCap. CZ was, behind a lot of this. And at one point it had just gotten dismissed because they said, well, it's not really, it was filed in Arizona or something like that. And they said, it's not the jurisdiction, not right jurisdiction. Well, after CZ went to jail and all this stuff had come about, and they immediately appealed it as soon as it got denied the first time. And the judges finally took a look at it and said, might be something here. From what we found with CZ and the story behind the Binance, the manipulation there was a lot of things I think that kind of rang true to this too. And they said, we're going to shoot this back to them. And because Binance was engaging in sales and things like that in the United States when they weren't really supposed to be, I think that's another reason why it got kicked back. So headed back to Arizona court, and we'll see how it plays out now that they're actually going to make them hear it and not dismiss it. So we'll see how that goes. And as far as this goes, this is basically the reversal on the original one that had dismissed it. So that's pretty much the update of what's going on. This lawsuit really never ended. They basically, lawyers were said, we're not going to make anything unless we win. So, they did get the retainer fee. They got that. But as far as I know, they're going to continue working on this because they do believe that there should be a nice settlement, paid out because of this.
Yeah. I think what most people are surprised of is just the fact that, like a lot of people, which is why I had you kind of go over this thesis from the beginning, but many people weren't even aware of this. You know what I mean? Like newer people that have, are onboarded through PulseChain and stuff may have not even known this was going on. And for this to just come out of nowhere, seemingly, again, not that it was ever closed out or anything, it was still out there, but no matter what, because it's been so long, the timing was always going to be interesting if this news came out. So it is interesting. It's interesting right now because, any dealings of anything revolving around DeFi or PulseChain, or, you got Uniswap getting sued yet again by somebody the other day. It's interesting that something seemingly good is happening. You know what I mean? Like just with all the things that are going on right now, obviously the corrupt SEC lawsuit against PulseChain and stuff like that, we're thinking that it will get dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. And at the very least, they won't really win anything out of it. But, obviously falling on their face against Ripple and totally losing that lawsuit. And it's just cool, not that this is related to them, but I mean, to see a legal thing like this being seemingly brought from the dead is pretty cool to see. Did you want to kind of touch on Nuclear Herb's tweet about it? Because it is long. I mean, I'm not going to read it.
We don't need to really read through it. There was a couple little things here. Essentially, this, one of the things that he does say is that this in no way will rule it a commodity security.
Right.
Even if it does, it's not going to affect the case in New York. What else does he go on to say? Yeah, no, I mean, it's very, very long. If you want to read it, I suggest doing it. But it's part of his PulseChain Law School, hashtag PulseChain Law School. Nuclear Herbs does a great segment every so often. He'll type up this, and it is quite a lengthy read. So we don't want to read it online when you guys can go through and read it. But
I will say this, if you don't mind, he does have a TLDR at the bottom, thank God. And the second point, you already covered the first one. Like, no, this doesn't necessarily deem that HEX is a commodity. If you want to bring it up for a second, you can. But I'm just looking at the TLDR.
Yeah,
the second point. The second point he makes, you still have the HEX Scout one up right now.
Oh,
as far as I'm seeing anyway.
I'm looking at my screen. Sorry. Here we go.
That's all good. I'm just the whole way down at the bottom. So the second point in the TLDR is, does anything here directly help RH in New York? No, but some of the issues, personal jurisdiction, alter ego, which is ridiculous, are present in both. So if nothing else, you can see how the courts analyze them, which is always useful. So that's cool. Like maybe some slight precedent there anyway. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So there's a couple points right there. So I mean, yeah, it's not linked to anything to do with the SEC case or anything, but it is a good thing. And I thought Sami said an interesting thing earlier today with a shout out to that Richard Tang guy or whoever is running Binance now. He was like, hey man, just make all of this go away and just list HEX now. Just list HEX on Binance, which I'm sure won't happen.
They could easily do that. List it on Binance and rank it properly. Well, it probably is ranked properly now. It's probably 2,000 something.
Yeah, right.
With as low as the price has gone. But we kind of ran into this. So this, I was just sitting here thinking about it. It could be another reason why I'm pretty calm through this, is because the amount of shit that we went through the first cycle early on, and this was one of them. The gatekeeping, and we finally got Nomics to list us properly.
Oh man, I miss Nomics. I forgot all about
And
that.
yeah, well, and then it got to the point where it was creeping up there. I think we got to number 4,
Yeah, 3 or
number
4.
3, and then all of a sudden, I forget the dude's name. Either way, it doesn't matter. They decided to remove the OA coins from it, and it was just one of those really weird FU kind of moves as we were getting close. And I really think that, I really think that he had some outside pressure, possibly by CZ, possibly from some of the other ranking sites, to do that and remove the OA coins. And our argument at that point was, well, are you going to remove the million Satoshi coins? Like, we
Right.
know they're
Yeah.
not in circulation either. So why are you picking one token? How about the Clay? Thanks, Johnny. So there were just so many coins like that. Are you going to remove Ripple's foundation coins? Well, we know they dump them on people's heads. So no, they're not going to remove those. But it was just one of those things where every time we thought we caught a break or found a new alternative, and we pushed a lot of people in the direction of Nomics. We gave them so much business.
Yeah.
The same with Uniswap. We made them popular too, and they end up, both of them, turning around and fucking us. So,
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody that we pushed for and gave them their head start, turn around and screwed us. So,
I want to respond.
Go
Well,
ahead.
sorry, finish your point. You'll enjoy this.
No.
So this Antoine tweet here, you may have seen, or not tweet, comment. You say he's gate kept, and sure, I agree. Do you remember him talking trash about them and everyone else? Also, you wonder why they wouldn't like him or don't like him or won't do business with him. I mean, that logic makes no sense to me. Like, so CZ is a dumb enough person that, I don't even think it's true that he dislikes Richard Hart or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I think that Richard Hart's attorneys have been helping him out through this process right now. So I don't think there's any real bad blood necessarily. But so you're going to compromise a product of yours because somebody's just talking shit about you or something like that. I mean, I don't really agree with that logic at all. I really don't think that's why. I think it's because hexes and PulseChain now are actual true DeFi, and people just don't want to. Frank Molina's been on this bend, which has been fantastic. He's been putting a bunch of great content on his channel the last couple of days, some great tweets as well. And he went on a tirade today on Twitter that I absolutely loved, where he was like, I'm not here for crypto. Crypto's bullshit. Like, most of crypto, as we know, is bullshit. Like, everything you see that is crypto is not DeFi. We're talking about actual DeFi. These guys on these sites don't like DeFi. They don't want anything to do with DeFi. Even Uniswap, which allegedly is DeFi, is not DeFi, or, is censoring things and things like that. So these big entities are moving away from that. They don't want you, like CoinMarketCap and the exchanges and stuff like that. They want you to buy what is on the exchange and keep your stuff on the exchange. They want you to get into these blockchains that are heavily VC backed, where people have, we always talk about this, but when people invested seed rounds and stuff, it can dump on your head the whole way through. We are still more so in the Wild West, which may sound intimidating a little bit to some people, but it is still being built out. You're seeing more and more concrete good products like PulseX and stuff like that being built in Hex. And the fact that we're in the Wild West is also why the opportunity is there. We're not buying things on exchanges that some rich dude that you've never met is going to just crush the price down or ruin their product, like Ripple and their shitty XRP token. So,
So to answer Antoine, this is the real answer why they didn't like him, why they gate kept him, is because they wanted him to be a pay to play kind of guy, and join the rest of everybody who does pay and get listed and play their game. And he said, no, I'm absolutely not paying. I'm not doing it. We'll be just fine using Uniswap and DeFi, decentralized exchanges like that. So that's the real reason. So
that's a great point, Acid Thunder. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. And yeah, and kudos to RH. Like, how easy would it be to play that game? You
Yeah,
know
of
what I mean? Like,
course.
why wouldn't you do it? It's like a no-brainer for a lot of these other people, but you're compromising your product at the end of the day.
Mhm.
You know, um, get this comment from Johnny real quick. He said, don't think the S load increase wasn't meant to snuff DeFi and drive traffic back to the exchanges? Explain what the S load increase is, Ewok, and what he means by that, because I think that's a good point too.
So
You don't have to
Ethereum.
get way too in the weeds, but
Okay, well, no. So the S load was a feature of when it actually does transactions, right? It adds to the GUI cost. And at one point, I think they did a 3.4 x increase in the S load cost, which basically meant the hex stakes, the way they do the calculations to the end of the stake, they have to go through every single day. How
right.
many hex per t-shirt did you earn that day? How many hex per t-shirt did you earn that day? And so on and so on and so on. If you did 1,000-day stake, it had 1,000 of those to go and find and add up so that you could pay your yield at the end. And that's what the S load was the control of how much calculation was being done inside that transaction. It wasn't just a send or a trade or something like that. There was actually math being done.
Right.
And the S load increase exactly at one point sent it, I think it was 3.4x higher than what it was before that. So
Pretty significant.
very significant. So who knows who was behind it or why? But again, we all know that they could remove that S load charge or fee and make things affordable. Make things affordable again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could easily go back to that, and if the fees ever got outrageous, they could lower that fee to help out. So
Yeah.
I agree. He's
Well
totally
said too.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of just events combined, yeah, to lead people away from DeFi. So that I just thought that was a great tweet by Frank Molina today, though, talking about, like, because you don't typically see people differentiate between crypto and DeFi. It's just like crypto. I mean, even Richard Hart himself, like, most people would just say crypto. But a lot of it is trash. A lot of it's just trash blockchains that are just pump and dumps for people to collect money, and dump on your head, and you're the
Yeah,
asset liquidity.
and I don't know if many people know this or not, but I think from the time the hex contract started up until PulseChain was released, there was over $40 million spent in fees on the Ethereum blockchain that were tied to or related to the hex contract.
Hmm.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, crazy. Well, that was a great topic, and I'm glad we went off on those other tangents there. I think it was important to color that in because, again, a lot of these people that are kind of new to the market now and are just here, not just here because of PulseChain, but are largely here because of PulseChain and didn't know some of that stuff in the past with Hex. I think it's a good eye opener to know, like, the evolution of DeFi here and, like, where we've been coming from. So really good to
Yep.
fill in the blanks there.